That sounds like something she'd say. I like that laugh.
And welcome back to another episode of Crips and Corks. I'm your host and the Prince of Darkness himself, DJ, here with my co-host.
And entrepreneur, doctor at law, MD, a lawyer, basically any profession that you could picture your great-great-grand-uncle doing, Paul. As usual.
Not the great-great-granduncle.
Yeah, how's your great-great-granduncle doing?
Dead.
Mine too, yeah.
But
anyway.
Speaking fun fact, I am actually a great-uncle.
Oh, I probably am too. I have so many nieces and nephews.
Yeah.
Honestly, fun fact, I was a nephew, I think a couple days after I was born, because my sister has a kid the same age.
You were an uncle a couple days after you were born.
Yeah, he was born the same year I was, and I think the same month. And you know what? He might have even been born before me. Crazy stuff. But that's a story for another time. We don't gotta get too personal, but yeah, you can be an uncle when you're a baby.
Yeah, and you can not even be 30 and be a great uncle because my step-niece and nephew are older than I am.
Yeah, right.
So they have kids now, and honestly, they're from the South, so I might be a great-great-granduncle.
Yeah, life's crazy in these streets.
Anywho, it's time for another amazing, spectacular, scrumdiddly-umptious, goody-goody gumdrop episode of your favorite paranormal comedy podcast, where we do hard-hitting journalism into things that may or may not have happened.
Period.
And so, Paul, tell me about your week.
The vibes are off.
The vibes are off.
The vibes are not
I'm
giving, girl.
Up here, and you're like here, and it's like...
I thought I was giving. And you know what?
Okay.
And just for that, bitch, this is going to be the episode I'm going to get you canceled.
Okay.
And you know what?
I'd like to see you try.
On the side, DJ told me he likes to kick puppies. And he likes to edge goldfish.
I don't even know how you edge a goldfish.
You pull it out of the water so it can't breathe.
I don't want to. I don't want to know this. I don't. Okay.
Well, Paul, how was your blessing?
I was just about to ask you.
Well, Paul, thank you for asking. You're doing great, sweetheart. You look great. So my blessing for this week is seeing my Facebook posts from people from my hometown, because they're always so crazy and out of touch. One of the Facebook posts I saw was like, one of the people from my hometown, they just said, release the Epstein files, and added the White House. Like, they said, at the White House, and then they posted again, release the Epstein files, and they added Donald Trump. Like, the White House and Donald Trump are gonna look at their Facebook post and
like at Donald J. Trump
right.
at the White House.
They tagged them, and it's like,
God.
Bitch, what, you think they're gonna see your little Facebook post and be like, well, so-and-so from Cumberland says I got to. Well, I guess that's the final straw.
Well, you know, when you live up in the mountains and you don't come down to civilization very often, you just kind of pick up things from 10 years ago.
Right. I just think it's funny them adding, tagging the White House, being like, that's gonna do it. That's gonna get their attention.
I mean, I was doing that shit back in 2017 where I was just shit posting, where I was just tweeting daily at Donald J. Trump, block me. Every day I'd post that, and he wouldn't, so I just blocked him.
But see, the funny thing is, I don't think they're shit posting. I think they're earnest, and they really think the White House is gonna see their Facebook status and be like, "Oh shit, guys, we gotta do it now. We gotta release the files now." So and so from Cumberland.
You know, he really shouldn't have run on releasing the list when he had no intention of doing it because he was on the list.
Right. People are stupid.
literally the whole MAGA movement, like somewhere along the way, somebody said that he was fighting against child pedophilia and like forced child sex slavery. And you know, when you actually force children into sex slavery, it's a really hard thing to fight against because eventually you do have to do something about it.
Right, exactly. Wild shit, wild shit. Now, for my curse.
Yes.
My curse is haircuts when you're balding. Because let's be real, homegirl, be vulnerable with the people of the internet. Like, you guys probably clocked it beforehand. I am balding. So, like, every haircut is like, is it that haircut that it's like, okay, girl, it's time to shave everything and go bald? So, like, every haircut is, like, kind of a struggle. Like, I think we're barely scraping by right now. And I haven't had my hair this short in a while, like, a long time. So, like, we're getting used to it. So I can't tell if it's me just getting used to it or if we're two haircuts away from just, like, being like, girl, it's time to shave. It's time to, like, it's time. Because you don't want to be that guy whose, like, hairline is, like, back, halfway back their head and they're, like, holding on for dear life. I don't want to be that guy.
I see you, I hear you, and I don't want to invalidate your feelings. But I do want to say, I think it's not as bad as you think. I think you're catastrophizing. I think your hair's just on the thinner side. And so it seems worse than it is. Because, like, a couple weeks ago, we tested this out, and we have pretty much the same hairline. But my hair's, like, a little thicker than yours. And so I'm able to hide it a little more easily. And I think yours isn't, so I think it's a tomato kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think you're fine. I think you've got at least a decade.
You think I have another decade?
I think you've got a decade.
That's crazy. Thank you. Thank you for saying all of that.
You're
I
welcome.
very much appreciate it. I think it does come down to, and if we can be vulnerable on the pod, it does come down to, like, our own self-consciousness and, like, our own self-consciousness and things.
And if you want to shave your head because you think it's that bad, I will support you in that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I know it's coming one day, and that day I'm probably going to have a meltdown like I low-key did this morning, but it's fine. And it's funny, because, like, after I got the haircut, like, I was fine. Like, after I got the haircut, I was like, oh, I look fucking cool. Okay, I'm feeling this fade. All right. And then I woke up this morning and I was like, I'm fucking old and ugly and decrepit, and no one's ever going to love me again.
No.
So when I went and got my eyebrows done, I got an eyebrow slit. So now we're eyebrow slit girls.
Yes. This has nothing to do with either my blessing or my curse, but this is the second time in less than 24 hours I've had to talk somebody down from a panic attack.
It's not really a panic attack. It's just like a little bit of a meltdown, but we're fine now. We're getting there.
Panic attack, whatever you want to call it, losing it.
And I will give you your flowers and shout you out for giving you that. I told DJ this morning I was, like, in a mood, and he did get me a cookie from Starbucks, so I very much appreciate that.
You're welcome.
You're the realest one out here. You're my bitch. You're the diva, the doll, the diva, and I very much appreciate you.
I know, it's so out of character for me not to be a raging cunt.
Oh my gosh. How was your week, blessing and curse?
Blessing, we're going to Trundle Manor tonight.
Yes, always a blessing.
Yes, and it's formal wear, and I have the sickest outfit. It's something that I compiled out of pieces that I already had, like, that I never got to wear before. And I was like, I think this will go really nicely together. And a lot of times when I'm trying to put together an outfit, I have a vision, and then I get the pieces together, and it doesn't match the vision. I have to go back to the drawing board. Not only does it look like my vision, it looks better than my vision.
Ooh, period. I love it when that happens.
Curse. It's fucking hot. Last week it was fall.
What do you mean it's hot?
Outside.
Are you sure?
Yeah, it's gonna be 80 degrees today.
Okay, I wouldn't say that's hot. Like, I'd consider, like, 90, like, hot.
Let me continue, and maybe you'll see my point.
Okay.
And that is, last week, we were in fall. It was wonderful. I was wearing jeans. I was wearing sweaters. It was cold at night. It was even a little chilly during the day. Like, fall was upon us. The leaves started to change colors. Yes. And then out of nowhere, It got hot again.
I feel like that's gonna happen at least like 1 or 2 more times.
It's probably going to happen like every other week from here until it's just cold. But I was so ready for fall.
Yeah, honestly, same. I'm ready for fall. We're halfway through September. Like, girl, summer's tired. We're moving on.
Yeah, I have like this really nice pair of like, when I was in Portugal, I got this really nice pair of like cotton pajamas. They're cream and they've got like blue, like, it looks like old timey, like drawings of planets and flowers. I wore them when we were in Deep Creek.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it because it's like the perfect fall thing because it's a little lightweight, but it's not like that lightweight. And like I pulled them out and I was so ready to wear them. And it's like every night it's like, it's so fucking hot. And I'm just sick of it. Sick of it. Bring me fall. I want fall. I want a crisp chill in the air. I want sweaters and jeans and boots and the stupid white girl hats. I don't wear them, but I want to see the stupid white girls wear the stupid white girl hat. And I want the hot coffee and I want apple cider and I want to smell cinnamon and dead leaves on the breeze. And I'm not getting that. And I want that because that is my aesthetic. Rant over.
I agree. Fall, very aesthetic. Love fall, ready for it. Summer's tired, we're over it. And it's time for Femtop Fall, the time when I reign supreme.
Yeah. Anyways, Pop Culture Corner?
I just want to briefly address the VMAs for Pop Culture Corner.
Oh, yes.
And fucking Conan
Oh,
Gray.
that was supposed to be my blessing.
Oh, what's your blood?
We're gonna see fucking Conan fucking Gray on
Yes!
Tuesday.
We're seeing Conan Gray on Tuesday. I'm so excited. I have been listening to Wishbone over and over again, just so I know the lyrics.
Sorry, as we were setting up, we were shit talking about something else, and it just threw me for a loop. Everything I'd planned just went out the window.
We'll give you guys the full lowdown on the concert next week. So excited to see Conan Gray and his VMA performance. Iconic. The Romeo and Romeo. Iconic.
Yes.
Legendary. The High Note. Iconic.
Yes.
Seeing Ariana Grande's family react to the High Note, like...
Right.
And I think that's
He brought back Sabrina Carpenter's Twink.
Yes. And also, shout out for Sabrina Carpenter advocating for trans people and the dolls.
Yeah.
Like, we love a queen who is here for the people and a queen who stays loyal to her fan base and the gays and, like... Yeah. Shout out to Sabrina Carpenter for that little bit of activism.
Yeah, because we've hit the point where a lot of people who've pretended to be allies for the past 2 decades are now that we're in the midst of fascism starting to show their true colors.
Very
and here's the thing, you cannot, I don't care how you personally feel, you cannot be an ally and agree with somebody who's homophobic.
Yeah, honestly, and it goes back to, like, these straight girls who have gay best friends, but then their boyfriend's homophobic.
Yeah.
Like, if you have a gay best friend, but you date someone who hates gay people, you're a problem.
Yeah.
Sorry, you're homophobic too. Like, you're guilty by association. If you're basically saying it's
You're an
okay.
accessory to the charge.
Yeah. So shout out to Sabrina Carpenter for saying protect the dolls and, like, advocating for trans people, advocating for gay people, and, like, even Ariana Grande in her, like, thank you speech, she said when she won Best Pop Artist of the Year or Best Pop Album of the Year, she said, thank you to my therapist and gay people. Love you guys. Like, these queens who are staying true even when people are, like, looking down on it, it might not be the coolest thing to, like, support other marginalized groups of people. They're staying true to their morals and their values. That's when you know they're a genuine person.
And I mean, it's so important to, like, the gays. We've always been here, not going away,
right?
And there would be no gay rights without Black trans activists.
Exactly.
And so to those two communities, us who are out and proud have to say thank you.
Yes, thank you to the Black trans women in our lives. And, like, we love this is definitely a come as you are podcast, like DJ always says, like, protect the dolls. we love people of all races, minorities. Like, we love you all. Don't get it twisted. Like, always here for you. And, like, shout out for, like, people who have a platform and continue to be there for the people. That wasn't where I was originally going with the VMAs, but you know what?
Yeah, this got surprisingly deep.
Yeah, it did. And
to reverse that, do you have anything else to say?
Seeing Conan Gray perform at the VMAs made me super excited to see him live. And it's so good to see, like, because, like, as, again, going back to the gay thing, like, seeing fellow gay artists not get the flowers they deserve and being small artists for so long when their music is so good, and then finally they blow up. Like, it happened with Troye Sivan, and it's happening with Conan Gray. Like,
and it's
people finally appreciating
so
them.
nice to see LGBT stars become mainstream.
Yeah, because Conan Gray deserves his flowers. His music is so good. Such a good performer, and glad to see it, and I'm so glad I get to see him in Pittsburgh.
Me too.
Well, see him when he... Well, yeah.
Yeah,
see him
you already knew. You already knew.
Yeah,
anyways.
By the time this comes out, we'll have already seen him.
Yeah.
So, yep, that was an emotional pop culture corner for you guys, and shout out to the dolls and the divas.
Yeah, I feel like emotions are just running a little high in this episode. So... either to counteract that or to lean into it, let's drink.
Let's get into it.
So today we will be drinking a bottle of Beaujolais Village from Louis Jadot. It is from France. It is an easy drinking wine made with grapes of the highest quality from the Beaujolais region of Burgundy. It is made from 100% Gamay grapes. It has a flavor description of a plump wine with notes of strawberry, black cherry, and spice. And it pairs well with hors d'oeuvres, mild cheeses, or poultry dishes.
Ooh, I love a good chicken. I love a good cock.
Yeah. Wine condom off.
You're holding that so crazy. Why do you have to hold it like that?
I love a release.
I hate it here sometimes.
I noticed it because whenever you do it, I feel like you always do it like that. I'm afraid the bottle's going to fall. So I tried to brace it against myself, and then I was like, I can make a joke out of this.
You did. What did you just call me?
ASMR pour. Take 2. Beaujolais. Cheers.
Cheers.
You don't like it?
I'll take one more. I'll give her one more go around. Yeah, that's bad. It's not good.
I like Beaujolais. It does need to breathe for a while, though.
What the fuck's Beaujolais?
It's wine made from the Beaujolais region of France.
Yeah, that's bad. I'm gonna give it 2 grapes.
Okay, I'm gonna give it 4 because I actually like Beaujolais.
Bitch, what's Beaujolais?
This wine. It's like a Cabernet Sauvignon or a Pinot Grigio or a Chardonnay.
It don't taste like it. It tastes bad. And you know what? What's that Italian sauce?
Marinara?
No, there's an Italian sauce that starts with a B.
Bolognese?
Bolognese, yes.
It's not Bolognese.
Okay, this reminds me of Bolognese.
What? How does this remind you of Bolognese?
Because the name, they're both B names, and they both, they sound, weird. They're both weird B names.
You're gonna have so much fun with this episode.
Why?
Because it takes place in France. One of the countries you hate.
Oh, jeez. Not the French again. Jesus Christ. But yeah, no, this is a bad wine. Don't do it, girls. Like, DJ, I mean, if you want to, like, pretend to be fancy or whatever and be like, oh, Bolognese or whoever the fuck. You know what? Actually, I'm going to name my daughter Bolognese.
Bolognese.
Bolognese. Yep. I'm going to have a daughter and I'm going to name her Bolognese.
I don't understand why you didn't like it. It's a very light wine.
I'll give her one more try. The taste, it's just like, it's a very sharp taste. In the
I'm not getting
worst way.
sharp at all.
How are you not getting sharp? I'm getting sharp in, like, the worst way. Bitch, are you gonna drink all my wine? I'm gonna have to fight you, bitch, if you drink all my wine.
I took 2 tiny sips. Okay, yours does taste a little sharper than mine.
Yeah, I don't... Girl.
I wonder if your glass just isn't clean.
No, the aftertaste on this one is sharp, too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not good. Not my tea, not my thing.
That's fine. Anyways, can I tell you a story?
Only if you prep me first.
You want me to do the trigger warnings before I do the intro?
Yeah, do the trigger warnings.
Okay, trigger warnings. This involves discussion of torture, mental and physical abuse, and eating disorders.
Okay, cool. Period.
And I think that's everything.
Honestly,
I think that's everything. This is a pretty brutal one.
we're 100 episodes deep. You know what you're gonna get. Like, if you need a trigger warning at this point...
103.
Yeah.
103?
Honestly, at this point, if you need a trigger warning, like, what are we doing?
Well, I like to throw out specific ones because, like, some people have different triggers.
Yeah.
Anyways, let me tell you a story. In 1901, Paris authorities received a mysterious anonymous note alerting them to a crime committed by a wealthy and powerful family. They, of course, did not believe that such an illustrious family, with ties to the Bonaparte dynasty, could be capable of anything described such. Nonetheless, they made a cursory search of the family's mansion to say they looked into it. But on the search, they discovered a secret. A skeleton in the closet, if you will, which had been locked away for a quarter of a century. Today, we will discuss the story of Blanche Monnier, Le Séquestre de Poitiers.
Ooh! How devious! The royal family! With Napoleon? Like the ice cream?
Jesus. Do you know what's sad? You texted me that exact phrase yesterday, and I heard it in exactly that voice.
And I hope you read every text like that in that voice. How devious! Okay, I'm actually interested in Blanche. That's the name of the Golden Girl, yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so that... When you first told me you were doing this, that's the first thing that came to mind. I've never heard of this before, so I'm interested to see what's going down.
So this is like a really haunting, terrifying story.
Okay. Maybe haunting and terrifying for you, but I feel like we have different levels of haunting and terrifying.
Well,
so...
it doesn't involve ghosts. It's more of a true crime.
Oh, okay.
So, like, I do find true crime to be more haunting and terrifying than a lot of the ghost or cryptid stories that we tell.
I'm interested. Okay, yeah, let's get into it. Let's see if I'm terrified.
All right. Marie Leonide Pauline Blanche Monnier, known as Blanche to her family and friends.
Yeah, I can see why they shortened that shit.
Yeah. I think we discussed this when we did Napoleon, where everyone has really fucking long names, but, like, it's always the last one.
Right, and it all just sounds like a drunk slur.
Yes. Was born into a bourgeoisie family in Poitiers, France in 1849. Now, let me describe to you what bourgeoisie means in this context, because this isn't like what like Karl Marx and the Communist Socialist Manifesto made it out to be. The bourgeoisie was initially founded as a middle class of sorts between the peasantry and the nobility. So they weren't peasants, but they weren't nobles. So it was kind of like this middle ground. However, by the time of Blanche's birth, the bourgeoisie was no longer a middle class, but instead the highest class outside of the nobility. It was filled with wealthy merchants and industrialists who represented the capitalist rulers of society. Her parents were Charles and Louise Monnier, and the Monnier family, though not noble, had noble origins, which made them of an even higher class within their own. Her father was an academic from a wealthy bourgeois family. Louise was the granddaughter of one of Napoleon's generals and was related to the aristocratic Comte de Clisson on her mother's side, while her father was a wealthy and successful stockbroker. So, money!
Okay, nice.
When the couple got married, they were so, wealthy and well-to-do and connected that Louise's mother, also named Louise, invited Emperor Napoleon III and recommended her new son-in-law as a tutor to the emperor's future son.
Now, tutor, is that tutor we think of?
Yes.
Like helping with math and shit?
Yeah, like a teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, because back then, members of royal families didn't go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So they would have a tutor who would just be their teacher in the home.
Okay, I got you.
And a quick note about Napoleon III. We're going to take a quick step back to friend of the pod, Napoleon I and his little red man.
Sorry.
It's okay, you're
Sorry, I thought we were talking about Napoleon the First.
No,
okay.
We're talking about Napoleon III, who was Napoleon I's nephew.
Okay, keep going.
It's literally that meme, with the equations.
Yeah, there's a lot of names happening.
And they're all Napoleon. Napoleon I was the first emperor of France. We talked about him in Napoleon and the Little Red Man.
Mm-hmm.
He had a son also named Napoleon, who he was never Napoleon II, but he is regarded by some to have been Napoleon II.
Mm-hmm.
Napoleon III was Napoleon's nephew, and he was first president of France before naming himself emperor, and so he took the name of Napoleon III.
Okay.
So he's not a son of Napoleon, he is a nephew. Don't know why that's important, but it's in my notes.
Okay. Honestly, same. Rude.
The couple had 2 children, Marcel and Blanche, a year later. Blanche was baptized into the Roman Catholic Church 8 days after her birth in a grand ceremony in which she wore a white and blue christening gown, trimmed in lace and featuring a 3-foot-long train. Following the ceremony, the guests processed through the city in 8 flower-draped horse-drawn carriages, handing out sugared almonds to the peasants they passed, because this was good luck.
Mm-hmm.
The family was close-knit and lived a happy and contented life until 1958, when the emperor requested Charles come to court as a tutor for his son, Louis Napoleon, the Prince Imperial. So that recommendation from Louise the Elder really came in clutch. Because remember when Charles married Louise, his mother-in-law said to the emperor, my son-in-law is a great academic. He'd make a great teacher to your future son.
But they're already rich, though, yeah?
Yeah.
So why do they have to teach?
Prestige.
Yeah,
her father didn't have to teach, but it's one of those things, he got into it. And so, even though, he didn't need to teach, this was a huge honor.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yes.
Okay, period.
Now, at this invitation, Charles, Louise, and Marcel packed their things and left for Paris, leaving Blanche in the care of Louise's parents. It is said that Blanche cried for 4 days after her family departed and then did not cry again except for the day her grandmother died.
Okay, that's kind of crazy. Why
Right?
didn't she cry again?
I don't know. I'll get into it, but it sounds like she had a pretty happy life from this point. And it also could have been she just decided crying doesn't get me anywhere. Because you'll kind of get a sense as I tell the story of she's a pretty strong-willed lady.
Okay.
Now, Blanche soon found happiness again in companionship with her grandparents, Louis and Louise de Mâconnais. Now, Blanche was especially close to her grandmother. She was given an education usual to a young lady of her status, focusing on how to run a household for her future husband, as well as pastimes such as painting and piano, which she apparently excelled at. In fact, in the mornings after breakfast, she would play the piano for her grandparents for hours each morning.
This is giving Princess Diana, this story.
A little bit. The only difference is this is a happy childhood.
Yeah, oh well, besides her parents leaving her, Jesus.
I mean, it was for a job. Like, it's not like they abandoned her for, like...
Okay.
Yeah,
I
like,
see what
it's
you're saying
awful,
there.
but, like, this was pretty usual back then. You would just be like, yeah, you're too young. We're gonna leave you with a relative.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there are some stories that during her teen years she had some struggles, but these are unsubstantiated, and they were mostly talked about years in the future. Some people said that while she was a teenager, she grew passionate about religion and discussed becoming a nun and would shut herself in her room for hours to pray and meditate. There are also stories of her suffering from anorexia during this time. But like I said, these stories didn't come out until years later. Now, when she was 15, she began to go with her grandmother to the courthouse daily to watch the trials from the gallery. You have to remember, back then they didn't have TikTok and they didn't have TV, so there wasn't a whole lot going on.
Right. It's the same with, like, the Roman Colosseum and shit.
Yeah,
and,
yeah.
like, hangings. Like, that was their entertainment.
And, like, by all accounts, her grandmother and Blanche were both, like, exceptionally, like, intelligent, witty women.
Mm-hmm.
And so this was probably, like, an intellectual pursuit where they would go and they'd probably, like, over tea, like, discuss it.
And debate.
And debate afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, so, now, while she was there, she spotted a young, handsome lawyer named Victor Calmet. Yes?
Can we pause real quick?
Yeah.
That's kind of like Judge Judy, but back in the day.
It was very much
They
that.
were watching live Judge Judy.
But it was a lot better because it was real and it wasn't made up for TV.
Yeah. Okay, Loki, stan. Like that. Stan
Okay.
that.
So yeah, she spotted a young, handsome lawyer named Victor Calmet.
She said, ooh!
How handsome!
Ooh! My baguette! My fromage! It's widening!
My croissant has become a baguette!
Ooh! It's been buttered! You've buttered my croissant!
Ah! You could have made me drop my croissant!
Wait, did you see that there's like rumors going around that they might bring back Vine?
Really? Ooh.
I don't think they should, but
No, I mean, we've...
TikTok's fine. We don't need Vine.
Yeah, and it's...
Vine's too short.
I mean, Vine's cute and all, but, like, I think we've evolved to the point where TikTok is just Vine.
Yeah, TikTok's just what it is.
Yeah. Now, she continued to go to the courthouse every day for years to watch him argue in trials.
The pining is crazy. The longing.
Right?
Oh, bring back pining. Well, actually, we don't gotta bring it back because, like, experiencing it, living it, it's not great.
Finally, she worked up the courage to speak to him. And it was so awkward because, like, she was just, like, walking, like, into the courtroom and she happened to see him. And she walked up to him and, like, you have to remember that he was, like, 11 years older than her. And so she's, like, 19 years old. So that makes him, what, like, 31?
That sounds like... You said 19?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. If
Or something like that.
If she's 19, 31 sounds right.
Yeah. He's older than her by, like, a decade. We'll just say a decade. So he's, like, 29, 30, whatever. And she just walks up to him. And she goes...
No! Sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I'm going to the ball at City Hall tonight. And she just turned and she walked away and she took her seat. Which is the most teenager thing, like, to do with a crush, like, to just be like, I'm going to the party tonight. Walks away.
She just walks out. My panties are wet, and just walks away.
Yes. Now, luckily, this was pretty endearing to Victor, and actually he had developed a crush on her too, because he had seen her sitting in the gallery every day, and she had grown into being an exceptionally pretty young woman.
He said, "Ooh, this woman with no life, with nothing better to do."
I mean, she would only spend like an hour or two there a day.
But still, it's like, girl, going every day. Girl.
I think he kind of got the hint that she liked him. But anyways, so yeah, she grew into being an exceptionally pretty young woman. And he went to the ball that night to like talk to her. It was a public ball, like held at City Hall. Like you could buy tickets and go.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm going to show you. Give me a second. So this is not a picture of Blanche, but this is the commonly used picture of Blanche.
I mean, she's pretty in the face. That hair... The hair is messy,
Yes.
girl. The hair, it's not giving.
Now, that's not a real picture of Blanche, and there are actually no pictures of Blanche from this time period, but I did pull up a picture of, like, what she probably would have looked similar to.
Okay, that looks a lot better. She looks pretty. The waist is giving. Like, she's snatched. I mean, she's fine. I imagine she was very average back in the day. Like, yeah.
This lady, I mean, she was so beautiful that she was called La Belle Mademoiselle Monnier, which means the beautiful Miss Monnier around town.
Okay.
Like, she was so pretty, she had a nickname.
Okay, we stand that. Love that. Jealous.
Now, after their meeting at the ball, this started a formal courtship between them where they would meet in the park for long walks and go on picnics with one another, and eventually, like, they were so sure of their love for one another that Blanche would go to his home every Sunday to have tea with his mother.
Okay. It is pretty serious when you are going to their parents' house without them. That's like a whole nother
I mean,
step.
he was probably there too.
Oh, okay.
But, like, I think the excuse, like, that she was giving to, like, the family was, oh, I'm going to pay a call. Like,
wait, they weren't together when she was doing that? Or they were?
I'm not sure. He could have been there. It could have just been...
Were they dating?
Yeah, they're dating.
Okay, they're dating. Okay, yes.
Yeah, they're dating. So, like, after, like, court, they would, like, go for walks in the park or around the city, and...
Okay.
No, you have to remember, dating back then was a lot different than it is now.
Right. Very formal.
Very formal, and, like, already, like, they're kind of, like, the fact that they're, like, doing it in secret and there's no chaperone is, like, very scandalous, and the fact that, like...
Kind of risque.
But, like, it is above board because they're meeting in public and they're only going to public places, and I'm sure a lot of those Sundays were just them sitting while his mother, like, did needlepoint or read a book in the corner of the room.
That shit's so corny.
Right? It's very, like, old-fashioned. But it's kind of sweet in a way.
It is, like, sweet in a way, like, getting to know someone emotionally.
Slowly.
Yeah.
Slowly. Now, eventually, Blanche would confide in her grandmother, who was very supportive, but warned her that it would not be easy, because her grandmother had the same struggle because she was noble, and her grandfather was just a wealthy man. And so there was that class division, and it took, like, a long time to convince her family to, like, let the marriage go through. But her and her grandfather were hugely in love, and that's where she got her ideas about wanting to marry for love and not for status.
Okay. Good for her.
Now, in 1870, when Blanche is around 21 years old. Yes? She was born in 1849, 22.
Girl, I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I don't know her.
I don't know you.
That's my purse. Okay, sometimes I dual vocal stim and I go between Bobby, I don't know you, that's my purse, and Bayou Bobby, where it's like, I think I'll give room service a jangle and see if they can send up some etouffee.
quick also side note,
Yes.
there is this particular TikTok account that sometimes pops up on my feed, and it only pops up when I've been drinking a little bit.
It knows.
And it's like this feed, and it's these guys, they hire 2 or 3 like weird ass guys, and they have like a little girl sitting on the bench. And they have the weird guy like go and be like, "Hey, little girl, like, is your parents around and stuff?" And they wait until someone's sitting by her, and it's like very like, "What would you do if you see this like happening?" And that shit gets me so worked up because I know if I was sitting somewhere or saw some shit like that, where some weird ass guy comes up to a little kid and it's like, "Hey, you want to come with me get some ice cream?" I know I'd beat the fuck out of that person.
God, right.
It works me up so much because the way. Like, they would not even be allowed to put that on TikTok because the way I would fuck up that dude if he came up to some little kid.
Yeah, I mean, there would not be enough censoring because it would just be one long beep.
Oh, yeah. I'd
and,
fuck
like,
that
they'd
dude
have to blur
up.
it. Like, there would just have to be a huge black box to cover your arms swinging.
Right. And, like, in a lot of the videos, the people are like, honey, the person like goes, "Sweetie, cover your ears," and then they start cursing them out.
Oh my god.
I wouldn't even have the sense to like tell the kid to cover their ears because I would just pop off. I'd be like, "Who the are you? Like, what the fuck? You don't know this kid?" Like, oh, that shit gets me worked up. The way I would fuck that person up if I saw someone tried to kidnap a kid like in my presence.
This just popped in my head. How do we get onto that?
Because. I don't even know.
Because like 1 minute we're talking about like, that's my purse, I don't know you.
Oh, that's my purse, I don't know you. The I don't know you is what made it pop in my head because Bobby's like a kid and like King of the Hill.
Okay.
He's like, "I don't know you."
Okay.
And that's what made it pop in my head and like.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're back on track now.
Okay. Period.
So. Oh, we were talking about how old she was.
Okay. Cool.
That's how.
Yeah.
Okay. In 1870, when she's in her early 20s, turmoil reigned in France. The country was in the midst of the Franco-Prussian War, and Emperor Napoleon III, following a disastrous loss, was captured in battle. It was forced to abdicate. Abdicate. I don't know you. That's my purse.
Period.
He was forced to abdicate the throne, and the Prussians actually invaded France and took Paris, which it's a serious deal when another country invades your country and takes your capital. Like, shit is over. And the government ended the monarchy and established the Third French Republic, but soon they faced a socialist revolt in the streets of Paris, which went on for months. Amidst all of this chaos, changing governments, war, revolution, Blanche's parents and brother returned to Poitiers traumatized. Because remember, they were in the palace, teaching, living, and the father was teaching Louis Napoleon the Prince.
Okay.
Now, Charles was without a job and fiercely tried to find work before finally being appointed the dean of the University of Poitiers, but knew that his closeness to the former imperial family could be his undoing if the revolt succeeded. Because this was like a government position. Like, the government appointed him to this. And if that socialist revolution succeeded, he was going to, like, be on his way to the guillotine. Louise, always a staunch royalist, with family ties to the Bonapartes reaching back to Napoleon I and his Little Red Man. And we're not talking about his petite baguette, was appalled by the establishment of the Republic and used her influence in Poitiers to lobby for royalist candidates and the government elections to restore Napoleon III or one of his relatives to the throne. Now, amidst all of this, Blanche and Victor never had the chance to declare their love and announce their intention to get married. Blanche was concerned her family was too fragile for the news and wanted to wait. All the more so because in 1871, Victor's father ran as a Republican candidate to the National Assembly against Blanche's godfather, who ran as a royalist, and won, earning him the arch nemesis of Louise.
Why? Why do they hate Louise?
Huh? No, Louise hated Victor's family.
Okay.
Because, like,
Arch
her...
nemesis?
Yeah, like, because she was, like, so staunchly royalist. And Victor's father was not and beat, like, one of her relatives in the congressional election.
Okay.
In 1873, Blanche's grandmother, the matriarch of the family, died, dealing a serious blow to Blanche personally, as she lost her best friend as well as the greatest supporter in her desire to marry Victor. Now, while she still had her grandfather's support, following the death of his wife, his health rapidly deteriorated and he became bedridden.
Oh.
So, like, she has, like, no one just in her side, like, to advocate for her. Now, her best hope was to simply wait until she turned 25, when legally she was no longer required to get her parents' consent to marry. Because at this time there was a law that no woman could get married without her parents' consent until the age of 25, and even then she had to write them a letter informing them of the marriage after the fact. Because patriarchy. It was not until she was 27 in 1876 that she finally informed her parents that she planned on getting married. They were overjoyed at the prospect of their spinster daughter finally marrying. They had wondered who had caught her eye, as she was very popular in high society, and hoped perhaps that she had even caught the eye of a nobleman who would establish the family's position even further. When she announced she would marry Victor Calmet, her parents flew into a rage, refusing her to allow her to belittle them by marrying a penniless lawyer. She spent hours begging, pleading, and perhaps even crying for them to accept her decision. Her parents called in her brother Marcel, now a lawyer on the fast track to working in the city government, to reason with her, and he was equally as appalled at the prospect as he had just married a Spanish noblewoman, and his own career in marriage would be rocked if she had married a middle-class man.
Oh, wouldn't that be unfortunate? Marrying a poor man.
Now, Blanche finally issued them an ultimatum that if they would not approve, then she would elope with Victor and they would have a real scandal on their hands. And then, Blanche Monnier disappeared.
Oh, she's gone. Gone girl. Part 2. Well, I guess part 1.
Part 1, the prequel.
The prequel. The squeakquel, if you will.
It's not really a prequel nor a sequel. It's more of a in-between. We shall call it 1.5.
What's that from?
The trailer for The Lion King 1.5. The one where it's just the story from Timon and Pumbaa's perspective.
Yeah, okay.
A cinematic masterpiece. The first notice of her disappearance was made by Victor, who wrote to Charles and was informed that Blanche had left the city and never wanted to see him again. Victor was heartbroken and never married, and he died suddenly in 1885. Other friends of the family were told that Blanche had gone to a health spa to recover after a serious fever had left her a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Later, when asked by one of Blanche's old friends, they informed her that Blanche had moved out of the country and did not intend on returning to France ever. After Charles died in 1882, Louise and Marcel announced with great sadness that Blanche too had died abroad, and everyone forgot about la belle Mademoiselle Monnier, whose beauty and charm had lit up the ballrooms and salons of Poitiers.
Yeah. Fake friends. Fake friends. Forgetting about her as soon as she's gone. Fake. Losers.
If I just disappeared one day.
What's your name again?
That answers my question. Now, we're going to time jump a little bit here to 1901. The Attorney General of Paris received a mysterious letter written in fine handwriting. It read, Monsieur Attorney General, I have the honor to inform you of an exceptionally serious occurrence. I speak of a spinster who is locked up in Madame Monnier's house, half-starved and living on a putrid litter for the past 25 years. In a word, in her own filth. The Attorney General called Commissioner Boucheton of the Poitiers police and informed him of the accusation, and the commissioner arrived at the Monnier mansion and asked to speak to Madame Monnier, but was told that she was too elderly and ill to receive him. They then called for Monsieur Marcel Monnier, her son, who lived next door, who came and called the entire accusation ridiculous. The police agreed with the gentleman, who was a longtime government employee, but stated they needed to look around regardless. Simply to, say, we did something. They found all the reception rooms empty and all the bedrooms too. But as they were leaving, they noticed a small door which was barred, chained, and padlocked. They asked Marcel what was beyond the door, and he dismissed it as being old attic space that they had abandoned and locked up long ago. They begged pardon, but insisted that they must check the whole house to discredit the claims. Marcel hesitated, and the commissioner, sensing he was hiding something, informed him that he would go to court and get a search warrant, and even have his men break down the door if necessary, and finally Marcel went to his mother and got the key. The first thing that hit them was the rancid smell of decay. They climbed the stairs into pitch blackness into a room which was not only small, but between the smell and the stuffiness, felt tiny. They switched their flashlights on and found a body. And then the body moved.
Oh, okay.
They rushed to the single window in the attic, which had been covered by heavy fabric, nailed shut and boarded up so no light could get in, and broke it out to let air and light into the room. They had found Blanche Monnier 25 years after she supposedly disappeared.
Ooh, girl.
She was laying completely naked, covered in her own feces and urine, chained to a straw mattress, caked with her own excrement, along with rotting scraps of meat, bread, and oyster shells, and crawling with cockroaches and rats. On the wall closest to her, scratched in the wood, was, "Shall I ever regain my freedom, or am I to be forever consigned to this living tomb?" She had wasted away to 55 pounds. Her hair was wild and knotted and hung down past her butt, and she babbled incoherently. She was described as a living skeleton. The police were so disgusted by the state of the room she was left to rot in that they actually had to leave it to avoid throwing up. Finally, they were able to carry her out of the room and take her to the hospital for treatment. Anything?
No, keep going. Sorry, that threw me for a loop. That is so crazy.
You thought she was just dead.
I didn't think she was just dead, but I didn't think,
it was going to be that horrifying.
Yeah, that's a lot. That... Finding her 20... Because, that means for 25 years, she was locked up in that room, basically tortured. No one knew, and she probably lost hope, 15 years before she was found.
Mm-hmm.
Could you imagine, spending an extra, if she lost hope 15 years before she was found, basically spending another, 15 years, up there, chained, no hope, day in, day out, you'd go insane. That is insane.
Remember that 15 years that you said.
I know you said 25 in my math.
I know, but
exactly right.
I guess
but I said 15 in my math wasn't right, but
it's okay. You said 15 years, so that's 10 years.
Right.
Okay.
10. So yeah.
So the police obviously then turned to Louise and Marcel, who obviously knew something. Now, one question. Louise stated that Blanche, was seriously mentally ill.
Well, yeah.
And that is why she had locked her up. And that she had to cover the window for her own protection.
That's not why I said, well, yeah. I was thinking when, they said when they discovered her, she was seriously mentally ill.
So Louise said that Blanche was seriously mentally ill, and that's why they locked her up. And the reason the window was barred because Blanche would stand at the window naked and exposing herself to the neighbors for hours. The police pressed her, asking if that was the case, why she had not put her daughter in a mental hospital for care. Louise said that she had hired a nurse, but the nurse died 5 years before, and she just never replaced her.
I don't believe there was a nurse.
Finally, Louise broke and admitted that she had locked her daughter up for being stubborn and obstinate, and that by the time Victor died in 1885, Blanche's mental state had broken and she had just left her in the attic. So that means within 9 years of captivity. So that's 1 year sooner than you thought.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't that she gave up hope, it's that she was broken.
Right. Which, that would break anyone. And there's another story similar to this.
Yes, the Turpin family.
Yeah, where he locked the daughter in the baby.
Yeah. A lot of the podcasts that I listened to for research, they kind of did like a duel where they would tell the story and then tell that one.
Yeah, which that story is a lot more not a lot more fucked up, but like...
It's fucked up in a different way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
Now, Louise was arrested for unlawful imprisonment and cruelty, but a judge allowed her to remain under house arrest due to her age and ill health.
No, fuck that. Put her in prison.
Oh, wait. Karma's coming, and Karma's a bitch. Now, the news of Blanche's captivity got out and spread like wildfire across Poitiers, then France, and then the world. Because this is like, there's telegraphs and shit.
Not the telegraph.
The telegraphs, it's...
Imagine getting...
What they said. Socialite, locked, attic, naked, torture.
Imagine getting the tea over telegraph.
Okay, so... And I know this because I'm so into the Titanic, but... So, the telegraph people, they would gossip.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in between, they would gossip.
Girl, I don't doubt it. Because, trust and believe, I'd be gossiping over
There was a whole
telegraph.
shorthand for gossip.
The way I'd be gossiping over telegraph.
So, the gossip was so bad that, like, the companies that ran them, they had codes where before you sent an actual message, you had to send the code so people knew it was no longer gossip.
Oh my god. Honestly, that'd be me.
So the way it would work is... It would be through points, so that it was a little game of telephone where the message would get passed to one, and they would pass it to another. So could you imagine? It's like, ooh,
girl,
ooh. I'm trying to think. Bertilde in the next town over. She's gonna love this.
Jesus.
Okay. 15 days after Blanche was rescued, an angry mob gathered outside of the Monnier mansion demanding justice. Louise could see and hear the mob outside the windows of her bedroom and suffered a heart attack and died of fear. Her funeral procession through the city was jeered by the whole population, and rotten fruit and vegetables were thrown at her coffin as it passed.
I mean, can you blame them?
Marcel was also arrested for his part in Blanche's captivity. He, however, maintained that his sister had been violently crazy and that she had been locked in the attic at her own request.
Yeah, I doubt that.
He stated that Blanche had always been high-strung and cited her religious fervor as a teen, as well as her supposed anorexia, and that when she was 23, she suffered hot brain fever, which broke her and led to a mental decline until she was 27 and needed to be locked away. Hot brain fever isn't a real thing.
Yeah, it doesn't sound like it.
It was a thing that doctors would diagnose back then, but it simply meant when you, like, had a fever... and you had inflammation of the brain, and so you'd start hallucinating. 6 months after Blanche's rescue, Marcel was brought to trial. He was described in newspapers as looking wan and worn and answering the questions asked of him in a weak voice, as his wife and cousin, the Comte de Clisson, looked on from the same gallery where Blanche used to admire Victor.
Oh.
Isn't that sad?
Yeah, that is sad.
Like,
Oh.
the fact that, like, this place that probably gave her a lot of joy ended up, like, being the place, like, where her, like, her case was.
Yeah.
Now, Blanche was too weak to be brought into court, but the prosecution brought the mattress that she had been forced to lay on, and even after 6 months of it being aired out, the smell was so rancid that everyone in the courtroom began to gag, and the judge had to call a recess until the next day to let the courtroom air out.
That's awful. I'm sorry.
25 years, like, she was chained to this mattress. Like, there is no way she was not chained to this mattress. Like, no one was caring for her.
That is so awful.
Now, it did come out during the trial that it was no secret in the Monnier household that Blanche was locked away in the attic, but that the servants were threatened and bullied into silence. It also came out that Louise actively hampered any care for her daughter. A former maid testified that early in Blanche's imprisonment, she requested fresh bed linens and a nightgown for Blanche, and Louise refused, saying that she would only ruin them.
Girl. Yeah, this is a lot.
Marcel was found guilty as an accessory to his mother and sentenced to 15 years in prison. But he would appeal the ruling and argue that he was mentally incapacitated as his mother's cruelty towards him made him weak and fearful of standing up for her. The court would acquit him on appeal, not for being mentally incapacitated, although as a sort of fuck you, they did deem him to be mentally incapacitated, which meant that he could never hold a job for the rest of his life.
Mm-hmm.
But on the technicality that at the time French law had no law that required Marcel to have helped rescue his sister from the cruelty he knew his mother was putting her through.
He could have done something. He was complicit.
He was complicit, but the problem was, like, there was no law saying that he had the legal, like, now in France and in America, there is a law saying that if you know of something being held, you have to report it, or you're an accessory. But at the time, there was no such law, and they were like, if there's no law, like, we can't. Which sucks, but,
right.
like, it was, and they amended it after the fact, but they could no longer charge him with it because he'd been through the case twice.
Right. That makes sense.
Now, following his release, he fled Poitiers and spent the remainder of his life living in seclusion in a chateau in the Pyrenees Mountains in the south of France.
And I hope that shit haunted him.
I
It
hope
probably
so.
did.
Now, who wrote the letter to the Attorney General of Paris, which got her released? We don't know. To this day, nobody knows. It is highly unlikely that it was Marcel or his wife or Louise who had everything to lose. Nor is it likely to be one of the family's longtime servants who depended on the family's good graces for their livelihoods. At this time, it is highly unlikely that a servant would be taken seriously by the police. Instead, they would be dismissed as a disgruntled employee, and the servant would then be fired without a reference, meaning that they would never be able to find a job again.
So then, it makes me kind of low-key think it might have been the brother.
The best theory there is that one of the maids was being courted by a young soldier, and he either witnessed Blanche's captivity himself, or the maid let it slip to him. And he wrote anonymously to the authorities, either to, like, probably, like, out of the sense of, like, compassion, and to also not get his girlfriend, like, arrested.
Well, bless that soldier, if that's true.
And, like, maybe the maid did it on purpose and said, I can't say anything, because, like, I'll never be able to find a job, but you can.
And if that's true, bless whatever soldier or whatever wrote that letter. Whoever wrote it, good on you, girl.
Now, following her release, or her rescue, Blanche was taken to the Hôtel Dieu hospital, where she was bathed and her wounds cleaned and bandaged. after 25 years being chained in seclusion in the dark with only her mother's table scraps. Because remember how I said oyster shells?
Mm-hmm.
So she wasn't being well fed. It was just whatever her mother was being served and didn't eat, she got. The once charming and witty and vivacious lady was totally broken, and she could do nothing but incoherently babble. Doctors diagnosed her with schizophrenia, anorexia, exhibitionism, which means that she would just she preferred to be naked,
Mm-hmm.
and corpophilia, which means being sexually aroused by scat.
Oh. Oh, no.
Now, exhibitionism and corpophilia are more fetishes than mental diseases. Anorexia, I think this can be explained away that I don't think she had the physical capacity to eat that much. And basically, what I'm trying to say is this really speaks to the limits of mental knowledge at the time, where I think they were just saying, oh, this is how she is found, this is what we're going to diagnose her with, because, we're not going to waste our time trying to, find out what else. I think she was dealing with a complete mental break, as well as PTSD.
Yeah, I mean, going through that shit, that's awful, crazy.
Blanche was eventually moved to a psychiatric hospital in Blois, and that's an actual city name, where the nurses and nuns helped her to learn how to walk and talk again. Her first full sentence came nearly 2 years after being released, and all it was a whisper, and she said, "It is so nice to see the sky again." Which really just breaks my heart.
Yeah, that's really sad. Yeah.
She would never fully regain her health, remaining deathly thin, sickly, and barely able to speak for the rest of her life. But despite all of her struggles, she did manage to live for another 12 years after her captivity ended, dying in 1913 at the age of 64, perhaps a little spark of her former strength and willpower shining through.
Well, that's nice.
And I don't have a smash or pass because this is just really disturbing.
Yeah, it's really disturbing. In stories like this, it just makes me think of all the people who have stories like this who weren't found,
Yeah, there's probably so many. And
the people who didn't get justice.
And there's so many different interpretations where some people say maybe she was mentally ill and her family did lock her up, because there are many stories going into the as late as the 1980s where aristocratic families would lock up their mentally ill relatives. I mean, the Queen of England, 2 of her first cousins had learning disabilities, and they were locked away in an institution because nobody can know. And they reported that they were both dead.
I mean, that's still not an excuse.
It's not an excuse.
You're still a person.
I'm just telling you how it was.
Yeah. Even if she was mentally ill, and it doesn't seem like she was, it seems like that was a very convenient excuse for them, which, as you know, in history, there were so many convenient excuses like that they would use to get rid of people. And
you have to look at the police reports show that Louise said she was stubborn and she was obstinate and she needed to be taught a lesson. It was Marcel who kept saying she was mentally ill, which was probably his way of trying to get out of it.
Very that. And Blanche, I do not think Blanche deserved... Well, no, I know. She didn't deserve it.
She didn't deserve it.
She could
Nobody
have had
deserves
a good life, but she was robbed of that, and she got some sort of justice. I mean, she was messed up for the rest of her life, but she got some sort of justice.
She deserved more justice.
I agree with that 100%.
The fact that her brother got out on a technicality. The first time I heard that he was acquitted, I was is it because he's rich and well-connected? And the fact that it was on a technicality was just why did no one see this coming?
Right. And honestly...
But, I mean, it's a small bit of justice that her brother campaigned so heavily on his sister being, mentally incapable of taking care of herself, that the court as a fuck you deemed him to be mentally incapacitated, which meant that he couldn't ever get a job again. That was going to follow him forever.
Right.
And also, there was no way he was going to worm his way back into society. The reason this was done was to keep their place in society, no matter what anyone says.
Yeah.
And so the fact that what they were looking to protect was ripped away from them is a very minuscule form of justice.
Yeah.
She deserves a whole lot of more, but I mean, at least the thing that they were looking to protect the most got taken away from them.
Right. No, someone should have speaked up. Like, I know, like, their part in society or, like, playing their role and blah, 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 but...
And I mean, the really horrifying thing is that, like, nobody cared to ask questions.
Right. That's crazy, too. And the more I learn about true crime and stuff, like, especially I've been hearing a lot of true crime stories about the Midwest and stuff, like, no one asked questions even today. Like, having, like, these people who disappear and they're like, oh, they just ran away or whatever. Like, that is such a common story amongst victims of serial killers from the Midwest because people didn't ask questions. Like you said, they assumed these people were just runaways or they were this or that. Like, it's such a common thing of people, like, not asking questions. And it brings me back to this quote from a song from Rising Appalachia, which goes back to, like, my spiritual days or whatever bullshit. The quote is, silence is violence when it's rooted in compliance. And it's like, when you're not saying anything, when you witness this shit and you don't say anything, it's the same, it's violence. Like, don't be quiet. If you see something, say something. Silence is violence when it's rooted in compliance, and I fully believe that for sure. And
this is a really, I mean, it's a great story.
It is a good story.
And, like, it's, I hate to say it, it's so fun to retell because there's so many twists and turns. But it's so horrific. Like, this is one of those stories that once you hear it, it just lives with you forever.
Yeah, and like I said before, it, like, makes you think about all the people whose stories who had the same story who didn't get told or they didn't get found and they just, like, died locked up somewhere. And you know there are stories like that where, like,
oh my god, yeah,
someone gets kidnapped, their parents lock them away, and they just die there. Like, luckily Blanche was found, but I know there were so many people who have similar stories who weren't found.
You know that there were probably so many times where, like, I think she was probably, like, fed a little more at the beginning. And, like, the food was, like, kind of, like, she was given less and less and less. In a, like, just trying to starve her to death. But it's this very hands-off, like, I didn't kill her. She just died.
Yeah, and for a mother to do that. But then I can understand it too, bringing it back to the beginning of the episode too. It's kind of, like, along the same lines of a mother who can, like, disown their child for, like, being gay or something. People are so rooted in the societal pressures and these societal standards that they'd give up everything for something that doesn't fucking matter. And I think, like, there's so many lessons to be learned in this story, but I think that's one of them too. Like, something like your society, your place in society and blah, blah, blah. You think it matters so much when at the end of the day, it doesn't freaking matter. And that, like,
and, like, it was literally just this, like, the fact that her mother let her own trauma caused her to do that.
Right.
Because it was the sheer fact that she hated the Republicans, she hated the Protestants, and she hated the middle class so much that, like, she did this to her daughter.
Right. Like, how you can let your societal bias or, like, your prejudice, like, literally harm your own kids. The person, like, you literally gave birth to and you're supposed to love the most in this world. Like, what are we doing? And it still happens to this day.
Yeah.
And it's insane to me, and it'll never not be insane. And I hope people take this very serious episode, which I didn't realize was going to be that serious. But I hope you take the lessons out of this and, like, yeah, because there's lessons to believe. Yeah, there's lessons to be learned in every story.
Yeah, and I think it's a good time to say this, like, from where we started with Protect the Dolls and the VMAs, and to end it going through the story, and I see this crop up on social media every so often, but it's, if you don't have it in you to accept your child if they're gay, pan, bi, non-binary, trans, whatever.
Or even, like, if you can't accept they're going to marry someone of a different race, religion, whatever.
Race, religion. If you can't accept them, if... I hate the word learning disability, but, like, if they have a learning disability, if you can't accept any of that, you have no business having children.
And that's the tea.
And on that...
and we're standing on business.
Yes. And on that note, we're going to end this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please like, subscribe, follow wherever you are listening. Please connect with us through all of our social media down below. Let us know your thoughts through DMs, or if you're listening to this on audio, just click the link that says text us, and you can send us a text. We can't respond, but we'll definitely read it. If you have your own personal stories, please share them with us at the email down below. We do have a live show coming up on October 11th. Both in-person and streaming tickets are available. It will be held at the Paduti Live Podcast Theater in Toronto, PA. Again, we will be covering Haunted Pittsburgh. Check all of our research materials on the shelves behind us. BYOB tickets are available if you come in person, and if you come in person, it is Halloween. Costumes are encouraged. We will be doing a costume contest. Paul, where can they find you?
You can find me at my personal Instagram and TikTok at Paulember, Paulember. And remember, as usual, it's not delivery, it's DiGiorno. And remember to always love each other. Do all things with love and grace.
And if you'd like to follow me, please do so at The Real Teach Powers on Instagram and TikTok. Be kind to one another. And until next time, keep your crips tight.
And your corks loose.
Bye.
Bye.